Hi guys, and welcome back. This is Miss Kirigo. I know I've been missing for a while now, and today I've decided to come back with an interesting video. I want to talk about some questions I got from my previous video about the cabin crew from Qatar Airways. So I'm going to read some questions and try as much as I can to give more information, and I hope you will like this video. Please like, comment and subscribe and share. And I promise I'll be posting more content, so keep it here. Today I'm going to answer some questions, and my first question is from Margaret, who said that she got rejected because she didn't shade the answers correctly. I'm so sorry, Margaret, for that experience, and I will urge all of you to be very careful. First, you have to read all the instructions before you start the exam. It's a very tricky exam, so you must be alert, you must be careful, you must read all the instructions, and I will suggest that you first tackle the easy questions first, because I think they give around 30 minutes for the quiz, so you must be very careful, you must be quick, you must be alert, you must read the questions and the instructions very careful. So, question number 2, someone asked me what are the cabin crew duties. I think the first thing is to greet the passengers when they board the plane. That is during boarding and exit. You have to greet them, you have to talk to them, you have to ask about how the experience was. Again, another duty is to show the passengers to their seats, especially those people who've never been on a plane. You have to guide them, you have to give way you have to provide special attention to elderly people, to people with disabilities. You have to make sure that they are seated, and they are seated at the correct seats. Another duty is serving meals and refreshments in the plane. You have to serve, you have to assist with anything that they want. Another thing is checking the condition of the plane. That is, you have to be sure that there is first aid kits in place in case of an emergency. Another duty is that you have to attend to any emergencies, because you are trained about the first aid. You are trained to how to do if somebody gets burnt in the plane. Sometimes you have cases where the passengers will give birth in the plane. You have to assist them deliver the baby. Another thing is dealing with emergencies. That is what I've talked about. You have to be alert, you have to know what to do in case an emergency rises. Another duty is selling duty-free products in the plane. You'll find that you will be required to sell some newspapers, some magazines and all those. Another, producing written flights. I would call it a report, where after a successful flight you're able to give a report of how the flight was, how many people you were on board, if there was any emergency on board. You have to give that report at the end of the flight. So question number 3, what do I recommend for first interview? I would say that you must be well organized, you must be prepared. For Qatar Airways, I think you have to be really prepared. You have to know about the airline, you have to know about the destinations they fly to, you have to know about the CEO, you have to know about their motto, their vision and all those. Again, you have to be friendly with both the interviewers and the applicants. So you have to talk well, you have to smile, you have to be nice to everyone, including the cleaners of that hotel. You have to be nice. You have to arrive early on time, so that you can get some space and some time to relax before the interview. And you have to be honest. Honest is another thing that you have to do. because you will get some questions like Qatar Airways. They will tell you to declare any scar that you have, so you have to be very honest. Even if the scar is not visible, you have to declare it, because when they happen to see it after the interview, you have chances of being, what do we call it, being, your contract being revoked, because you are not honest at the first time they ask you. So you have to be very honest, you have to be confident. First impression is the key. You have to have a nice body language, how you talk, how you walk, how you present yourself. Yeah, so those are just some few tips, so you can Google others and you're good to go. So question number 4, someone asked me, what are the Qatar Airways application stage and what they mean? The first stage is when you apply online. So you go to their website. In case they have an opening at your country, you go to their website and apply online. After applying online, I think they will require your photo. If the process has not changed, they will require your CV and your height, all those details. Then the second stage is after you are shortlisted. So they will send you an email telling you that you've proceeded to the second stage, which is an online video interview. It's called Sonru online interview. So that one, you will have some questions. I think they are timed, so you have to be really fast and you have to be careful when answering. So you will, I think I can't remember the number of questions, but they are timed and you have to fill all of them. So you have to, in case they tell you to talk about your strengths, your weaknesses, you have to talk, and the answer is recorded. So the third stage is it's when you are invited for an assessment day. So after you get shortlisted and you're invited for an assessment day where you go to in person. I think they do that in a hotel. They send you an email, they tell you where and the time you're supposed to be there, and you are supposed to carry with you your CV and the invitation letter. So you go, and the first stage at the assessment is a briefing about Qatar as a country and Qatar Airline. So you get a briefing, what you're expected to do, how Qatar life is, how much you're expected to earn, all those. Then the second stage at the assessment day is the English test. This is a test you're giving 30 minutes to answer. I think it has like 3 sessions. And I can assure you that it's a bit tricky, so you have to be careful. You have to read the instructions well, and it's not a tough quiz, but it's a tricky one. So after the English test, some people are eliminated, and those that pass the English test proceed to the AMRICH. AMRICH is where you enter in a room, and there's a mark. I think it's 212 meters mark. You are supposed to touch that. For ladies, you can tiptoe and touch it, but for men, you're not supposed to tiptoe. So for ladies, you walk in the room, then you remove your shoes, then you touch that line. So if you touch it, you proceed to the next stage, which is public speaking. You're supposed to pick a paper on the table and talk about that subject. And for those who are short, who are not able to reach that 212 centimeters, I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to proceed with the interview. So you're given time to leave. So for public speaking, you're supposed to pick a piece of paper and talk about that subject written there. So for my case, I got a question asking what makes people beautiful, and you are given 2 minutes to talk about that. So if you pass and they like you and they see the confidence in you, and if you can qualify for cabin crew, you are invited for the final interview. This is where you get a chance to meet one-on-one with I think it's a panel of the interviewers. They ask you questions, but for this one, questions vary. So others might ask 3 questions, 2 questions. It will depend with the interviewers. And that's it. After you pass the final interview, you go now to the process of doing the medicals and the onboarding process with the hiring manager. So question again, I forgot, for Qatar Airways, you can apply online, and after applying online, you are invited for an meet and greet event. So in this case, you are not supposed to do online interview, but you are invited for meet and greet. This is where you go to a hotel, then you carry with you your CV and your CV. Then you meet the interviewers. I think they ask 1 or 2 questions, then you drop your CV. If you are lucky enough, you get invited to the second day, that is the assessment day. But if you did not impress them, I'm sorry, you're not invited for the assessment day. So question number 5, someone asked me, what is the final interview like? I think I've talked about that. It varies, and this is where you meet the interviewers and they ask you questions one-on-one. So another question about Qatar Airways with the scars. One thing I know is that they are very strict with the scars, especially if the scar is big and if it's somewhere which is visible when you are in your uniform. So at the time of the assessment day, you are given, they have a form where they ask you to declare all the scars that you have in your body, and they will ask about where the scar is and how big it is. But other cases, I've seen people with scars make it to the final, whereby the interviewers will ask them to send a picture of the scar when it's covered with makeup and when it's not covered. Then they can decide if you can proceed. So just try your luck. Don't feel bad that you have a scar. You can just try your luck. You never know, you can make it. Do Qatar accept braces and gap in their teeth? This question I'm not very sure about it, so I'll not answer for now, but you can do research. I think there are other YouTubers online who have tackled this question. So another question, what did you do with your hair? I think for ladies, you're supposed to tie a neat bun, and you're not supposed to have those shiny pins, hair clips. You're supposed to have well manicured nails. You're supposed to be in a skirt or in a trouser which is not very tight, and a skirt which is not short, just below the knee. For men, you're supposed to be well trimmed and not supposed to have beards. So you're supposed to have a clean face, and you're supposed to be in a suit. Yeah, a well-fitting suit. So I think those are the questions I got. I'll be answering others as I get them, and I'll be giving more tips about my experience and about my friends' experiences. And I promise you I'll be coming back with more content, travel content, lifestyle hacks, all those. So keep it locked here. I urge you to like, subscribe, share and comment, and yeah, see you in the next video. Love you.